man with a stick gets a piece of string. But the question is, just how long is a piece of string? We attempt to find out as we measure Brightlingsea Creek. Okay, the time is 9:02 on Monday the 13th, and I'm just floating down on the tide where the harbour masters have laid out a secondary buoy, the pink one, off the yellow to indicate how far a boat on the pontoon would come out. I don't have any clever way with GPS of measuring things, so I've just tied a bit of rope to Morgan's pontoon just off the stern of this boat, Anatora. There out in the stream is one of the buoys that the harbour master has placed. I'm just going to lay this piece of rope out, tie a knot in it, and see how long that is by measuring it later. I'm roughly in line with the pink buoy. In the distance down there, if I follow my finger, you should be able to see the green channel navigation mark, and there's the yellow buoy there. So it looks like this pink buoy is roughly halfway across from that yellow buoy to the line of the green buoy, which is indicating the maximum width of navigation. Well, that's supposed to be 7 meters between those buoys, so there's only about between 7 and 9 meters, 10 at the absolute most, from that pink buoy to the edge of the fairway, not the 20 meters that Morgans are telling us. I'm in the region of this little pink buoy, which I'm just drifting back down onto, and I've tied that same piece of white rope that I tied to the dock, which I've now established is about 12 meters long. I've tied that to my dinghy anchor, and I'm going to chuck it in the water next to the pink buoy. So I've rowed over from the pink buoy to the line of the green buoy, and my 12-meter rope is just coming in over the stern. So I was right, there is no more than 12 meters across there, not 20. So now we have put a line of floats on string, measured out from that post, which is in line with the middle of its existing pontoon. So we've put it out to this pole, pink fishing net top mark on it, which is out as far from the pontoon as we're likely to be with a 5 or 6 metre wide boat on the pontoon. We're just coming in line, I'm just passing the line there, down the side of the barge in me. There's a pink buoy that the harbour masters have put out. So we'll just go back round, so you can see our pole in the foreground, beyond that the rib and the barge in me, and we're just coming on line now with the pink buoy. So we're pretty much, if anything, we're probably half a metre to a metre in Morgan's favour. So I've just now dropped my dinghy anchor with my 17-metre long rope on the shore of Sindri Island, straight across from where I've put the post in. And I'm now going to row back to the post to see how wide this gap is. Bear in mind, this is not navigation, this is just actual wet water. This is, the time is currently 10 past 11, so it's pretty much low tide. Okay, so I've now rowed across from where I put my anchor on the Sindri shore. I don't know if you can see the rope in the water there just about, and I've tied the other end of it onto the post. And I've got, best I can tell, 1.5 meters. So 17 meters, that's 1.5 meters. So we've got 15.5 meters from this pole, which is how far out any boat on Morgan's pontoons will be, to Sindri Island. So it's 15.5 meters of water, not 20 meters of navigation. Again, there's the post. I'm going to stick my oar in the water, and the oar collar is about 4 foot. I haven't measured it exactly. There you can see the oar collar is just above the water, so there's about 4 foot of water there. Right, so I've rowed myself across. I've dropped the anchor over there, a little bit out from Sindri, where I could find 2 foot depth of water, which I think is a minimum for navigation, and I've rowed over to the pole, and you can see that I've got quite a lot of this 17 metre rope aboard. I'm just going to lay the phone down while I measure it. So very roughly 2, 4, 6, about 8 metres. So I've got about 8 metres of my 17 metre rope aboard. I'm going to tie a knot here. Right, so I've tied a knot very crudely. That will come to roughly the pole. So that will show me how much navigation width we really have at low tide. And this is not a spring tide, this is an average tide. I'm on board the barge Edme, and we are moored by one of the white boys there. We're actually a little bit hanging out at the stern because of the wind direction, so I'm just going forward to the bow, and here you can see that it's pretty much this edge of the boat, pretty much on the line of that yellow buoy up there. The white buoy's hanging in a bit, and if I go and stand the other side of the bow, I don't know if you can see my pole in the distance, but there's a dinghy coming out now, and the dinghy is coming out in line with my pole now. So that just shows you what width this is. The time is 12:30, so it's an hour and a half after low water. So there we have the smack CK9, just showing how she's run aground. You can see that the pink buoy is, which just shows the limit of boats on Morgan's pontoons, is about the hull length of the smack away from its stern, never mind the bowsprit. Now we've got the police rocked up to see what we're up to. I've just run past the pole on my boat, heading down towards Edme. I've got 1.7 metres under the keel, which is about right for this state of tide. The time is now 1:45. I'm just going to have to bear away so I don't ram the Edme, and I need to be far enough off to be comfortable. So we are coming up on the Edme. She's effectively sitting where a 6 metre wide boat would come out to if it was on Morgan's pontoons. 7 metres is where that pink buoy is, so that's about the best we can manage on that. So this is about as far off. You can see my boom is extended that way. If the wind was in a slightly different direction, the boom would have to be out the other side. So there's not a lot of room here. Again, this is the pink buoy. It shows the extent of boats that would be on the moorings here. I'm about 4 metres off, maybe, yeah, 4 metres off, which is less than the length of my boom out there. Okay. And I'm headed straight at the green buoy, which is the port hand side of the channel, and this is at half tide. So this is how far I think I need to be off the Edney to allow for me jibing. I'm running by the lee now. If I jibe, I'm just about clearing you. 2.1 metres under the keel. There's no way I could tack up there. I ran aground every time before I got enough speed up to be able to tack. Here, back on dry land, I've hitched my bit of rope to the back of my van along with the tape measure, and we can see that stretched out we have 12.4 metres to that knot that I tied on the post from the 2 metre depth of water. So my bike tape measure has run out at 15, just over 15 metres. So that's 15 metres. Put another tape measure down here, and we can see so that's 15 metres. So this is 16 metres, 16 and a half. 17 metres would actually be here. So this is 16.75 metres long. The time I tied knots in it was probably near 16 and a half. When I put the anchor on the Sindri shore and took it out to the pole, I got about 4 foot. So go back 4 foot, 1200 mil. So at that point we were there. As I said, was about 15 and a half metres. It's actually 15.6. So that's not bad measuring, trying to row against the tide. Morgans don't actually own Brightlingsea Creek. The mud at the bottom of the creek belongs to Crown Estates. So how can they be allowed to stick pilings into it and a load of pontoons there with boats on and take away the public right of navigation just for their own commercial gain?